listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. I am your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
Welcome to the sort of off season.
It's never off season around here.
Oh, okay. What's going on? What am I missing?
Portal.
Oh boy.
We're going portaling, boys.
Yay.
Good and bad. I mean,
Sure.
basketball and football.
There's another
All
sport
things.
going on. We're just gonna.
Softball. Softball.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Good.
We're doing wonderfully.
We will definitely talk softball tonight.
I mean, we can talk baseball if you want, but
Oh, yeah. That was it. That was the one. Sure. We'll get to it.
welcome in, Steve. Glad to actually catch us one live. I always miss them. Well, buckle up, brother. Here we go. 2 hours of us. Probably not.
120 minutes of us.
Yes. Well, glad to have you, Steve. As we are ones to do, we are streaming live on the YouTube. You can catch the obviously the recording Wednesday, Tuesday night. It's about 9 p.m. If you want to hang out with us on the live stream, get in on the conversations, you can do that there. Obviously, if you're not subscribed, you definitely should be. We're going to talk some football, Michael. We've got spring practice ongoing. 3 new players committed since we've last spoken, 2 high school and 1 transfer. Michael, would it be so far-fetched to tell you that transfer committed, signed, and is already on campus practicing?
Wow. I did not know. I didn't know that. I knew who the signee was, but I did not know that transition has already been made.
Yes. You had 2 high school class of 26 guys commit today, a quarterback and an offensive lineman. We'll touch on that spring game update since that we are now 11 days away. We will wrap up the basketball season. The national champion was crowned last night. I couldn't decide which one I was going to hate more, Florida or Houston. Correct answer is yes. I hate them both. I would have hated either one of them winning the title. Until last night, Michael, Houston's last loss was to Texas Tech back in February.
That's true.
And then Florida does what Florida does. They get down 12 points, come back and break your heart. So I've seen a lot of people reaching out and offering just not like words of wisdom, but like some words of consolation to the Cougars. Not me. I'm not mature enough for that. But saying like, hey, we've been there. This sucks. It'll never go away. That's true. I will always tell Samantha or whoever will listen, it will always be too soon to talk about losing to Virginia when you were right freaking there.
I kind of love that. That's not the same realm as a backhanded compliment, but it's close. It's kind of like saying, "Oh, your Ferrari got scratched." Yeah, my Ferrari got scratched too a couple years ago. It really stinks. Just want you to know I had a Ferrari.
Welcome to the club, brother.
Just let everyone know. Yep, got a Italian V12 just in the garage. That's what's happening. But I feel for you.
Yeah. We'll give some roster updates, not only for Texas Tech, but around the Big 12. Coaching updates. I would say baseball. We'll just give a. They lost again. There's your update. Softball, though, flip the inverse of baseball. They are killing it. So 31-9, 11-1 in Big 12 play are the Lady Raiders.
I don't
And
think
then,
they're technically the Lady Raiders.
excuse me, because it's a different sport. The Red Raider softball team.
Correct.
And then we'll finish up as we always do with what do we learn. So, let's start basketball. I'm not ready to talk about. Sorry, that's not what I meant. Let's start football because I'm not ready to talk basketball. My mouth got ahead of my brain. Spring game is next Saturday, the 19th. Michael, they were running a special for some South End Zone VIP club tickets. I tossed around the idea of potentially picking one of those up. They are now sold out. So if you didn't jump on it, you are too late. They were offering obviously access into the South End Zone, onto the field, all kinds of perks for spring game shenanigans.
Yeah,
for the low price of $50 a head.
Yeah, in the scheme of going to a football game, that is kind of low because you do get to tour around the South End Zone, as you mentioned, but you also get complimentary food and non-alcoholic drinks. I think I stuttered there. I want to make sure I said non-alcoholic. I don't want people to think that there's free booze at this thing. There is a cash bar, and then you will be allowed an exclusive post-game autograph opportunity. So I would imagine there's probably some. I don't know how they sold these. There might be a chance to buy some on the secondary market if you're that interested in going. But yeah, according to the site, they're sold out. And I'm with you. When I texted that to you, you asked if I was going, and my kid's soccer game I think is at 1:30. So I am out. I'm out for the spring game this year, unfortunately.
We do have a time set for 2 p.m.
Correct.
That's been a recent development. It feels like.
I think so too. I mean, within the last week or two, they finally set a time.
And it will not be against the Colorado Buffaloes.
Yeah.
They did not move quickly enough on that. But they are practicing. Michael, they obviously resumed their little break after spring break. They are, getting very close to wrapping up spring practice since the spring game is their last of, was it 15 practices?
Yes, I think so.
You know what I saw a video, Michael, is Baron Morton participating in spring practice. He's not throwing, but he's out there getting reps in, getting work in, getting the footwork all shinied up in front of his new quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator, Mac Leftwich. Love to see that.
Welcome back, Baron.
Welcome back, brother.
Unlike the AI-driven articles that I keep seeing posted on Facebook, he did not take money to go to Arkansas or whatever they keep saying. They're the most bizarre things in the world for like SamsungGalaxy.net, which is, of course, where I always get my sports news.
Wasn't that the rumor last offseason that Taj Brooks was going to Arkansas?
It might have been. That sounds familiar.
Well, he didn't.
Maybe that's how AI picked up on it.
It's just enough people interacted with it. It's like the new algorithm. It's like Texas Tech fans seem to really get engagement boosted with Arkansas thing. So we're just gonna tie everything from Texas Tech to Arkansas because we get engagement baited. All things Arkansas: baseball, basketball, football. So we talked about a new transfer, David Bailey, defensive end, outside linebacker, hit the portal a week ago Friday when his head coach was released by Mr. Andrew Luck as the new GM and acting or interim athletic director. Kind of a weird scenario, but he had, kind of a weird chain of command where the GM didn't report to the coach. Because like when you think about a GM, like for instance, who's McGuire's GM? Why am I blanking his name?
Is it Blanchard?
Blanchard. Blanchard works for McGuire. You think of Kellen Buffington for the basketball team, works for McCaslin. Andrew Luck did not work for the head coach there. He worked for the athletic department and then promptly fired the head coach. Anyways, that opened up Mr. Bailey to hit the portal outside of the official portal window, which doesn't even open up for another week. Was in town that weekend, had rumored to be either visiting or was going to visit University of Texas, was also considering UCLA. But once he got a hold of that contract from oh my gosh, why did I just blank on his name?
Cody Campbell.
He's like, I'm done, shutting it down, boys. Signed, sealed, delivered, and then as of today, was on the practice field for the Red Raiders. So,
what a world!
I think because of the quarters system is what I heard out of the Locked On Texas Tech podcast, because he was done with that term, was able to leave and to join up with Texas Tech. I don't know. I'm here for it because he will continue to practice, but now with the good guys. Will not be here in the summer. Well, he's here now. So hopefully he's got some friends setting up his move back to Lubbock, packing up his apartment, or he's got a moving crew all set up to do that for him. But
yeah, it's the staff of the Matador Club.
They're the ones driving out to
yeah, they rented the U-Haul. They're out there right now. They're loading it up. That was part of the deal.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not going back to pack up my apartment, boys.
No.
Box it up.
That's it.
So the official spring transfer portal window opens next Wednesday, the 16th, and runs for 10 days. I assume it's going to be probably not as fast and heavy for Texas Tech as it was back in December. But you will probably see some guys on the way out, I would assume. Especially since this will be, you'll have almost a full week of portal window being open after the spring game. But I would assume most guys that are going to hit the portal probably aren't waiting for an exit interview, post spring practice interview. Like they're probably pretty well aware of their standing with the program and their chances. But they'll have a week after Texas Tech spring game to hit the portal and find their new home. Speaking of finding a new home, Texas Tech secured the verbal commitments of two class of 2026 high schoolers. One quarterback from Savannah, Georgia, Stephen Cannon, which as a quarterback, you love that kind of a name. You hope he's got one on his arm and not the opposite. And then offensive lineman Gerald J.J. Myers from a Central Texas. Is it Weiss? I couldn't tell you. Weiss. There's enough German down there. I was like, it could be Weiss.
It could be. I would guess Weiss. I know a kid that's named Weiss who pronounces it that way.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Gerald J.J. Myers, which is fantastic connection there. Spelled differently though than the old AD, but
I didn't even catch that. The J's threw me off. Yeah, Gerald Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Back at Texas Tech.
Yeah, we should have led with that. Gerald Myers returning to Texas Tech.
But you'll never guess.
On the football field, on the gridiron.
As a lineman, yes.
Yeah. So, I'm having a hard time keeping expectations in check for this defense, especially the defensive front. I also am probably just all wound up to be completely shattered when the portal opens up that we're going to lose the existing defensive line. Your Adaidares, your Dylan Spencers, your Cheetah Aphiles, that group of guys. And while you're like, well, we've got a great, crop of guys that you signed in the off season. You really would like to hang on to the guys that you've been developing and investing in to be able to hit the team and be able to produce for you outside of this season, or at least be available this season.
I don't think. I think you worry too much. That's all. That's all I'm gonna hope to say.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I'd rather be, as nature of my job, Michael. I need to be prepared for the worst.
It's true.
I need to be proactively ready for that reactive statement when, nope, I will not be drawn off sides. Nice try. Won't do it, Michael.
Good for you.
Because there was a politician
Wait.
in town.
What?
Nope. That's all I'm saying. That's all. Basketball. Let's talk basketball, Michael. Sorry, unless there's anything else you want to talk about on the football front.
I'm good. I was super excited to see. Not only did Campbell and the Matador Club and everybody pitch together to get that player from Stanford, whose name I've already blanked on, Bailey.
David Bailey.
Okay, so got Bailey in there, but then Campbell's out here firing off gifs of Kenny Powers giving the finger guns.
I love how he just he just steers into it.
He does.
Like that interaction that we talked about last week where they talked about a player hitting the portal, and then you had that gif of the oilman in front of the derrick on his cell phone, and he was like, "Yep, pretty much."
That's pretty much it. Yes, because I know. I mean, we read that article about one of the reasons they're able to do this is because of how quickly he's able to put these deals together and close them. So, that Exhibit A right here.
As long as this window's available, I mean, it may change. Yep. I know we're supposed to hear a ruling on it yesterday, but from what I've gathered, it wasn't as clear as they had hoped. That didn't have as much direction as they were hoping. But essentially, you've got one final shot at this free-for-all NIL market before we go into revenue sharing. And with the recent sale of a multi-billion-dollar business, we have some cash on hand.
A little bit.
So spend it while we can.
Yep.
Can't take it with you. I don't want to put out that in the universe. Let's all hope and pray for good health for Mr. Cody Campbell and his estate. All right, round ball, basketball. The basketball season came to an end, not only for Texas Tech, but for everybody. The national title game was on Monday. Florida taking down the Houston Cougars 65-63 on what can only be described as indescribable heartbreak and collapse. And what was the word from Kelvin Sampson? Oh my God, incomprehensible.
Oh, that's good. It wasn't inconceivable. It wasn't that.
No.
Okay.
Credit to Florida for playing defense there on that last possession and seemingly just completely flustering Houston. Looked like they had an idea about what they wanted to do, but maybe didn't have a backup, or maybe all the backups were kind of guarded and taken away. Like maybe Florida was just that prepared.
Florida was doing the same thing to Houston. I mean, I didn't really sit down and watch the entire game. I started tuning in probably with about 12 minutes left, so I got to see the tide turn. Which is this just predictable now in basketball, in college basketball?
I think we say that because it happened to Texas Tech.
Well, it happened both ways. Texas Tech was down by, they made a 16-3 run,
16,
and then they allowed a
21,
whatever it was
6, yeah.
It's then Florida did the same thing to Houston. Houston did the same thing to Duke.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, is this how it is?
What this
at
is,
some
Michael?
point the either the whistles or the scales of life just decide, I don't want this game to end in double digits. We're going to start allowing Florida to make everything. Any drive they take to the basket, they're going to get called a foul. Houston's not going to get called for a foul for I don't know. They're not going to get a foul called on Florida for 7, 8, 9 minutes of game time, whatever it is. And
they're going to allow Florida to just rip the ball off the rim and not call goaltending.
Yeah, drag their pivot foot and not call travel. They're also going to, Houston's just going to go the icest of iced cold that you possibly can go during that stretch too. I mean, a lot of things have to go so right for this type of thing to happen, but it happens over and over again, and I'm sick of it. I would just like to see
revealed.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not going down that path, but it's just so bizarre, and it seems like it's really just college basketball where it does that.
Let me tell you why it is the script. It's the Matrix, the cover being peeled off here.
But the committee, still a delicious steak.
But. Sure. The people were complaining this was not a tournament of upsets, of Cinderella runs. It was just heavyweight battles back and forth. You had 4 1 seeds in the Final Four. And if you want good basketball, you couldn't have you had the 4 number 1 seeds battling it out. You had the 4 best teams remaining, not you got a team that went hot all of a sudden like NC State did last year. No, this was the consensus top 4 teams. And you had 3 hell of a games.
Yes. I don't get that sentiment. I mean, that's who you want. You want the best teams to come out. I wouldn't call it boring. Auburn's not a perennial blue blood. The fact that they're number 1 is a new thing. I mean, I don't get why people are upset about that. That's still a relatively new thing. Florida obviously has been there before. They haven't had as much success lately. Of course, Duke is everywhere. Houston, I'd say, is not perennial either. I mean, Sampson has had them up on the top of the ladder for the last several years, but they're not. It wasn't like it was North Carolina, Kansas, Duke, and fill in the fourth. Gonzaga, yeah, or Villanova. It wasn't that. I mean, I don't get it. And they went through the playoff system in place, won the games they're supposed to win. So what? I mean, that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes the best teams are actually the best teams. Not always.
So I wasn't complaining about the matchup. I wasn't complaining that you had 4 1 seeds and that you were without drama or Cinderella. Obviously, when Texas Tech saw it happen 3 games, 2 against you, and then Florida went on to do it to somebody else again. That's entertainment. It's entertainment value in and of itself to see a team come back from that much. No, it wasn't UNC Wilmington running through the West bracket. It was a team that should have a game that should have been neck and neck the entire time. One team got a big lead, the other team came back and then it was neck and neck. It's
what more could you ask for?
It wasn't straight heart attack for 40 minutes of game time. It was a wider swing, and that win probability chart for the Houston Duke game was ridiculous. It was worse than Texas Tech against Florida. It was Duke, boom, straight down. Where it was with Texas Tech and Florida, it was it peaked and it then came down, but it wasn't the precipitous cliff that it was Saturday versus or Houston and Duke. So I want to share this tweet from Emery Lida, or this short little thread here. Weird trend talking about Texas Tech opponents in the tournament. Texas Tech has lost to the eventual champion 3 times in the last 6 tournaments that Texas Tech has played in. Teams that Tech lost to in that time period made the Final Four 5 times, with the only team to lose in the next round being Arkansas in 2021. Texas Tech has had brutal draws. These are Emory's words. 18 had to face Villanova in the Elite Eight. 19 got through Michigan, Gonzaga, and Michigan State. 22, we took on Duke in the Sweet 16. Last year, we got North Carolina State as they went on their run. And then this year, we had Florida, who you had a 12-point lead on. 18, 20, and 25 were Final Four teams with better matchups. It's unfortunate, but that's life in March. He finishes. So, with the finale of the basketball season in the books, rosters are a churning, Michael. They are a churning. Good old thing of butter.
It's rebuild season again, man. Every April.
So this one surprised me, but then like logistically, logically, like playing it out in my head, it makes sense for him. But D5 to come out and say, I'm literally leaving every door open that I can possibly leave open to myself, declaring for the NBA draft while retaining his eligibility, going into the portal. So obviously he could stay at Texas Tech, although it sounds like that's pretty much out the window.
I think a lot of our fans may have sealed that.
Well, he's also been going and deleting tweets too that have been kind of questionable. So sorry, the tweet wasn't questionable. The deletion of said tweets have now called into question his intents there. But we'll test the NBA waters. I assume he could, catch on somewhere, play professionally somewhere. I don't know enough about the NBA to say like where he would go or how he would play. On the flip side,
go ahead. Yeah, all I've seen is he's projected late first round. I think is about the highest I've seen, but more than likely a second round pick. But I think his game would fit in the NBA slightly better than Toppin's, to be honest with you. And whatever Toppin decides, I know that's where we're heading next. But a lot of people know a lot more than I do. But I do think Williams would be a better fit off the bat for the NBA than Toppin would.
Yeah, and with that, it does seem that there's momentum, smoke in the corner of JT Toppin returning to Texas Tech. Love to hear that. The fire, if you will, is that Christian Anderson is returning to Texas Tech, and that is freaking huge.
Yes.
Huge. If you can build piece a roster around Christian Anderson and JT Toppin, I mean, that certainly goes a long way in helping figure out what next year's team is going to look like. Now, remember, you have to replace Chance McMillan, Kerwin Walton, Elijah Hawkins, Fetty. Although we've said that, he technically has the JUCO year available to him. He could come back because he played in JUCO.
Yeah, that's my bad. I didn't realize. I thought he had used all of his eligibility after his last year, and so I'm sure folks were screaming at me last week. But man, I thought he was done. He'd played 4 full years.
So technically, I guess he could still return. I haven't heard one way or the other. I would assume he would want to stay in college. Like, again, you haven't heard anything draft or professional wise that would indicate he would make more money and have greater opportunities elsewhere. And with college and NIL the way it is now, it's like, dude, cash checks now. Also, I would love to have him back in just another year of Fetty progressing. I mean, there were times when he absolutely he knew his role. He took over games,
like the Arkansas game, for instance. Yeah,
6 offensive rebounds in a minute.
Yep.
And then defensively, and that stretch, he's was getting onto the team. Like he led the discussion on one of the timeouts. McCaslin said he was all about, was helping bring the energy in one of those huddles. Obviously, love to have Kevin Overton back. Or sorry, I would. I don't know if
Yes, I
that's
would.
obvious, but
Well, I would too. Yeah.
and then your young players: Mario Kuntak, Leon Horner, Jazz Henderson, replacing Cambridge as well. So 3 guards and a forward, probably 2 forwards if you're gonna lose D5. And I'm not sure if a Kuntak took Cambridge's spot on the roster. But you at least need one more bigger guy and a handful of guards. You've been linked to a handful of players that have hit the portal, but nothing official. No, no visits. No commitments. No signings just yet. So you've got that. Do you want to look around the rest of the Big 12? Because this news hit earlier tonight, and I just rolled my eyes and I just couldn't believe it. Pop Isaacs heading back to the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
Going to Houston.
No, I didn't know that. He played 9 games this year, right? 8?
Something like that.
I mean, obviously it was because he was hurt. That's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but my gosh. Well, is Cryer leaving, or what door opened for Isaacs to come to Houston? I'm unsure of what Cryer's eligibility is, or what is, if he's going to
I don't know what
go
the roster
for the
looks like.
draft, or what they're going to do. But that
Let's
was
look
my
at their-
immediate thought.
Let's look at their basketball roster real quick. See who's redshirt freshman, redshirt sophomore. A bunch of guys I've never heard of. So LJ Cryer's listed as a grad transfer, so he's probably done.
Okay.
Francis is a senior with 3 years under his belt. Malik Wilson, it's a grad transfer.
Wow.
Jawan Roberts was grad.
I mean, I'm not going to be. That's just interesting. That's just interesting that he is transferring to the national, the second best team in the entire country, after almost sitting out an entire season, basically.
I'll say it. He's transferring to the second best team in the conference. What's crazy, and it's I'm sure like it happens everywhere, but it also it feels this way just because of our exposure to it. How thin teams' benches are. Like,
Yes.
I'm scrolling through this roster of Houston players that never heard of. Cordelius Jefferson, Cedric Lath, Ramon Walker, Jacob McFarland, Chase McCarty, Mercy Miller. So,
people do the same thing with most rosters.
Sure. And the other guy I wanted to bring everybody's attention to, if you didn't see it or if you've already forgotten, the really obnoxious guy off the UNC Wilmington roster, Obioha. He's going to West Virginia.
The big guy with the short shorts?
With the lady shorts? Mm-hmm.
55 or something? He had like a lineman or a linebacker's number?
Yeah, with the female shorts.
And
I say that because of the cut, the way they were riding up his thunder thighs. But yeah, it was
I was gonna segue directly into this, but I'm gonna get some distance from what you just said before I say that. So 3, 2, 1, starting over. Speaking of lady shorts heading to West Virginia, Texas Tech transfer Logan Johnson announced that she's going to West Virginia. That's really the only Lady Raider update I have. Jazz Shavers is still in the portal. I don't think she's committed or officially. Well, she did leave. She's not coming back to Tech. I think she put out the letter, so that was that. But Logan Johnson, I think, announced probably an hour or two before we recorded last week, and I missed it. And so she will be at West Virginia next year. That's it. That's the Lady Raider update for this week. But yeah, Obioha going to West Virginia. I had not seen that.
First transfer in the Ross Hodge era for the Mountaineers. That would be your new head coach out there for West Virginia.
Mm.
Their roster, Michael, awfully thin. I think they have 4 guys on it right now. So
we're doing better.
We are. All right. The other thing, the coaching updates I talked about. So Matt Brower, we knew was heading to SFA, and we were contemplating, thinking about who he might be taking with him from the Texas Tech staff. No official word yet, but assuming that he's probably going to take some GAs with them, or at least that's what I've heard. I went to the SFA website to see who they've announced, and they have hired Payne Andrews as their first. Sorry, he is the first assistant coach that Brower has hired. It was actually a couple weeks ago, but he's coming from New Mexico State, so he's not from Texas Tech staff or program. He's coming over from New Mexico State. Was at Sam Houston State prior to that. But he just had his introductory press conference a couple of days ago. So they are hitting the ground running under head coach Matt Brower, who obviously coached for McCaslin at a couple of different spots here, but now has his own program to run.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Do you want to get into the final polls, Michael?
Yeah, sure. We can
wrap it up that way.
Run through them one last time. You know, when I went through here, it was kind of sad because there was something about, oh, this is really final now. Of all the things we've talked about, something about doing the updated rankings of the Haslametrics, where we are in Ken Palm and all that. I was like, oh man, the season is officially over. So, spoiler alert: Texas Tech is 11 or better in everything, in all the things. They end the season 11 in Haslametrics. They end the season 9 in Ken Palm with an adjusted offense number 5 in the country. Defense is 39. Tempo 264, so about where it's been most of the season. Strength of schedule bumped up a little bit. They were 49th out of 364, including the tournament teams they played.
But remember, going into Big 12 play, they were like,
oh, it's
280s.
Yeah, it was really low. BPI finished at 10. T-Rank finished at 10 with an offensive efficiency of 6th in the country and a defensive efficiency of 37. Net rank finished at 7th. And then the AP poll is the only one I really have beef with because the others are all done through magic black box computers. But ranked number 8 in the country to finish the year. I have trouble believing that Texas Tech was the worst of the Elite 8. And that's how I read that. The worst team in the Elite 8. False. Negative.
Hold on.
Took the national championship team to just pull some stuff straight out of their ass. Shooting and turning and doing cartwheel threes with a minute and a half left to beat little old Texas Tech. Number 8.
Let me remind everybody what the Elite 8 field looked like. Auburn, Michigan State, Florida, Texas Tech, Duke, Alabama, Houston, Tennessee.
Michigan State got ranked above us too.
I think the only one I would probably have beef with would be Tennessee. Because they got blown out. That was by almost 20.
Well,
Alabama did get beat by 20.
I was about to say, then the same thing happened to Alabama, didn't it?
Okay, so put Texas Tech at 6.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all. That ends my TED talk.
Okay. Man, it sucks. So here's why I didn't want Florida to win. Because now it's filled with like what ifs. Because this is a team that you had on the ropes and you probably should have closed out and won. Had it been like Duke and Auburn, like teams you didn't play or didn't face, like cool. That's a championship, a title game that would have no feelings whatsoever towards. But because it was Florida and Houston, just like, man, any way that one would cut would hurt.
Two teams that, of the 3 games you played them in, they were just nail biters the entire way.
Yeah.
So I think I wasn't really rooting for Houston. I was definitely rooting against Florida because of the really petty fact that I just do not like them, and I didn't want them to win. So I did catch myself, when you're doing that, when you've picked a team to root against, you do kind of go into that mode like I did earlier, where they're not calling a travel, or they're not this or that, and so it feels and looks like you're rooting for Houston, but please don't write that. Don't put that in my obituary that I was rooting for Houston in the 2025 national championship, because it's not true. Because that would be really tough to swallow too. But at least I respect them. I'm sick of Kansas. But I do at least respect Houston, and the fact that Tech ended up 500 against them this year. I just was, like I told you, I was really rooting for that. Let's settle this once and for all on a neutral court.
And what if you ended up playing them 4 times? Like you meet them again in the Big 12 title game,
12.
and then you meet them in the national title game. They're like, then they would be like, oh my gosh, this is too much. Texas Tech and Houston's too much.
Yeah.
But regionally, like this would have ignited a fire that would last for years, lifetimes of people arguing about which team was better.
Mm-hmm.
Even if a team had gone 4-0, I think in either direction, we'd be like, nah, you didn't get us at our best shot, or that doesn't count. All right, let's talk some baseball, some hardball, and softball. Michael, we had a snowstorm on Saturday.
Yeah, we did.
Did you catch that? We had 12 hours of snow. Then to wake up on Sunday and have no snow on the ground. It was that, like, because it had been so warm for so long.
We went to bed and there was no snow on the ground, basically.
It wasn't sticking. It was like melting as it hit the ground. A very slushy snowstorm that, like I said, lasted all freaking day. Samantha texted me as I was working out, so it would have been like in the 7 o'clock hour. It's snowing. I was like, okay. Sure. I knew like it was supposed to rain and it was maybe potentially going to get cold enough to snow later. And sure enough, I checked the weather. It was like 40 degrees. It's like, what are we doing? Snowing at 40 degrees? Yeah, it did all day. I bring that up because you had a baseball game scheduled for Saturday that ended up playing a doubleheader on Sunday because it was decent enough weather to play 2 games on Sunday.
Friday's game got moved up at least 4 hours, I believe, right? Didn't it get moved up to 2?
Yeah, and then it went into extra innings.
Yeah, because that cold front was blowing in. Yeah.
You ended up losing Friday night 7-8 in 12 innings. Saturday game was moved to the first game on Sunday for doubleheader. You lose that once you lose the series. Both times all 3 games, Cincinnati scores 8 runs. You lose the first 2 7-8 and 1-8. Sunday, they again score 8 runs. You score 12. Behind a big day from Logan Hughes. but you had already lost the series and were trying not to get swept, which you did, but you now lost 7 of your last 8. You dropped to 5-7 in Big 12 play, 9-20 on the season. And I was texting my boss. Is like she asked me if I was watching the game. I was like, I can't bring myself to watch these games. One, it's also like it's not been good timing with our schedule, but also with basketball going on. And now with Texas Tech only having baseball and softball playing right now, is like I don't even know if that'll get me into a lot of games, but it may sucker me back in. But man, I'm having a hard time, especially when they go out to New Mexico, to Albuquerque, and get run ruled, Michael, 15-5.
That felt like that was going to happen. Even on years where Tech has really good years, they go to New Mexico and get run ruled. It's just kind of a rite of passage.
Yeah, well, you give up 7 in the bottom of the first. Heading into the second inning, you were down 7-0. You didn't score a run to the fourth. New Mexico got it right back. They scored a run. You got it to 8-2. You need your 1 run in the fifth. You add 1 in the seventh, 8-3. You're okay, we're not this far out of it. And then you give up 4 in the bottom of the seventh.
Mm.
And then 3 more in the bottom of the eighth to hit the 10-run lead. I mean, you scored 2 in the top of the eighth, but they added 3 to then put it away. Yeah. Let's see. Who did you pitch today? You pitched everybody. Connor Mohan got the start. Zach Erdman, Carson Ball, Daniel Bass, Jordan Espinoza, JT Drake, and Jacob Rogers. Mohan started the game, did not record an out. 4 hits, 4 runs, all 4 earned, no walks, no strikeouts. Zach Erdman comes in, goes 3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk. Ball comes in for an inning and 2/3. Daniel Bass, an inning and a third. So between the two of them, they go 3 innings, give up 5 hits, 4 runs. All 4 of them were earned. Espinoza gets a run on no hits. You love to see that. JT Drake gives up a hit, but no runs. And then Jacob Rogers goes 2/3. Gives up 2 hits, 3 runs.
Is your ERA like infinity if you don't record an out?
Mm-hmm.
How does that work?
Yeah. Infinity, like if you don't record an out and give up at least 1 run, it's just 99.
Oh my gosh.
So,
of course it is.
Let's see. Mohan is a 6'3" freshman from Burleson. This is not his first appearance on the season. He has played in 7 games. He's pitched 12 and a third inning, given up 19 hits, 12 runs, all earned. And on the season, he is sporting a 8.76 ERA. But as you indicated, Michael, his ERA today is a cool 99. No outs recorded, but 4 hits, 4 runs, all 4 earned. 2 home runs today, Michael, he gave up.
Oh, let me see. And those were one was a single. I think one got 2 guys coming in.
Yeah. So Asby homered to score Wood. There's your 2. The first 2 runs scored, and then Oriach was a solo shot. But yeah, so you lose 15-5.
But you get to come home early.
Yeah, you got
it's good
45-minute head start on that trip home.
Mm-hmm. Beat the traffic out of Albuquerque,
Duke City.
Yeah,
gonna hit that rest stop in Santa Rosa.
Are you a Loves guy or the guy on the west side? What is that? What is it? The one on the west side of the highway to Fort Sumner. Ah, man, I'm looking it up because who cares? Next time you go to Love's, admire that beautiful single-phase distribution line as you're driving in.
I understand the words you said, but they don't make a connection for meaningful things in my head.
It's like a carpenter bragging about the ashtray they made or something. It's not a big deal. I'm just trying to make it sound like a big deal.
Is it something that you designed and
yes,
put in?
Yeah,
nice.
Nice the power line that goes right over the entrance as you drive up, right before you get gas.
You're like that.
The power line. If you charge your EV there, it is fed from a power line I helped design at the Loves in Santa Rosa. Very deep
hell
cut.
of a flex.
I know one person who has used that, and so I can tell him he'll appreciate it. But I know of no one else.
Yeah, that's awesome though. Next up, you have a home series with Baylor, 21-10, 5-7 in Big 12 play. 6:30, 2-1 are your first pitch times, as they always are at home. And then you hit the road next weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday being Easter weekend, against Arizona State, 22-11, 8-4 in Big 12 play, with the Friday night game being on ESPN2.
TA Travel Center. That's the one on the west side of the road. So you go to Love's on the east side of the road, or TA Travel Center when you go to Albuquerque?
Is this the one that like right as you get to the highway intersection where you turn and head west?
Yeah, when you get to, this is just south of I-40.
So yeah, so right as you're getting up to the I-40, whichever one's on the left, that's the one that we usually had stopped at.
So you're a TA guy.
Sure, we have stopped at that gas station basically every time we've gone to Albuquerque.
Also, if you're driving between Fort Sumner and Santa Rosa, please notice the transmission line that parallels that road, as it is currently being rebuilt, and we did design that as well.
We being Michael?
An engineer on my team.
Okay. I mean, you can.
I can take credit, but I can't.
You had to prove it, right? You're like, yeah.
Well, yes, yes, but he did all the hard work. He did all the hard work.
Your name's on that paperwork somewhere.
It is. It very much is.
And then you get a midweek, the week after Easter, Monday, Tuesday, hosting. On the road in Abilene, taking on ACU, Michael's second favorite team.
Love Abilene Christian. Big fan.
Softball, Michael. Let's get over to the successful round ball, softball, hardball. Just call it softball. That's stupid. Softball. 31-9, 11-1 in Big 12 play. Najee Kennedy. My goodness. If you're not paying attention to what's happening on the diamond and you're seeing all the tweets and stuff about her NIL deal and all this stuff, here's why.
Another Stanford transfer. Big get.
Bigly. 11-1.
We've got a pipeline there to California.
Good for first place in Big 12 play and 14th in the country.
Yeah, the Red Raiders, let's see. They have coming up this week. They're hosting last place Houston, and then they'll head to Tucson the following week on that short week coming into Easter to face second place Arizona, who is ranked number 13. Arizona is 33-7, 10-5 in Big 12 play. So that's a really big series. And most all these games you can catch on ESPN Plus now. What struck me too, Spencer, is I kind of just threw some stuff together. I'd heard some of this. I'd seen some tweets. I'd been kind of catching up with it. And as always, Seeing Scarlet is where you need to go to really catch up with all of this. So follow Seeing Scarlet. Check them out. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter, Instagram. Give them a follow. Give them a like. Listen to their podcast. But this is, as of this weekend, this was Texas Tech's first home sweep since 2016. They swept Utah, which made for their third Big 12 sweep of the season. So they had 2 on the road, 1 at home. And the math checks out because when you're 11-1, you've had 3 sweeps. So really great to see that, to get this program just single-handedly almost. I mean, I don't want to pretend like there's not more players on this team than Nyjari Kennedy, but she is a dominant force. She's won Big 12 Pitcher of the Week for the second time this week. She'd already won it before. This weekend she pitched 17 innings, Spencer. She allowed 1 run and she had 22 strikeouts. So let me do some quick math. 17 times 3. If she pitched a full 17 innings, that's 51 batters. She struck 22 of them out. She had 43% strikeout of batters faced.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. So far this season, she ranks 4th in the country in strikeouts with 183. She's tied for first in ERA at 0.6. She is 3rd in strikeout to walk ratio at 10.28. She is 3rd in strikeouts per 7 innings, which is 11.1. So over half of the batters she typically faces in 7 innings are walking away having been struck out. She is 2nd in whip at 0.66. And offensively.
Yeah, I was going to point this out too.
Yeah. She's got, okay, go for it. You got it.
So she is batting 302 with an OPS over 1,000, 1050. Wild. She has 53 at-bats, 16 hits, 4 home runs, slugging 585, which surprisingly is not tops on the team. This team offensively is just stacked. As much as we're talking about Nyjari Kennedy on the mound and her great offensive production, she's actually 8th in batting average at 302. You have 8 starters batting over 300.
I remember just, sort of following the softball team last year. There were a lot of games. It was like 11-8, 9-7, that type of thing. The offense was there. It seemed like they just couldn't get the defense to go along with it on a lot of games. But yeah, we don't want to just. Yeah, Kennedy is obviously a huge part of this season, but there are 8 other players at any given moment who are a big part of this season too. And as you mentioned, several of them, despite Kennedy batting 302, that's nothing to sneeze at. There, what did you say, 7 or 8 players in front of her?
So she is number 8, so there's 7 ahead of her, but there are 8 total batting 300 or higher.
Man,
and she's 8th. So Bailey Lindemuth, Haley Toney, Logan Hallerman, Alexa Langoliers, Lauren Allred, Reagan Jennings, and Maya Davis. The top 2 batting 379 apiece.
Man, I wish I could dig this up now. I wanted to because I found it so interesting. Weeks ago, they put out the walk-up songs for the softball team, and one of these girls had "Eastbound and Down" by Jerry Reed. I was just like, this is my new favorite player. And now I've blanked on her name. That's terrible. But anyway, a lot of really good selections in there. You got a good glimpse into the personality of these girls. And they look like they're playing and having a lot of fun as they're doing it, and also dominating as they're doing it. So, let me see. We mentioned that they're playing Houston
Friday, 6 p.m. on ESPN
Yep.
Plus.
And then, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then they'll be at Arizona Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
There you
go. We're ending on a high note. Softball team is killing it.
Yeah. All right, let's start this up with what did we learn, Michael?
Yes.
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't know either.
I don't know either. I'm going to attribute this, Michael, to purchasing some off-brand or maybe just not the best, highest quality pellets. I'm having some troubles with the smoker lately, and I've entitled this little bullet point: "The pellet smoker giveth, and the pellet smoker taketh away."
That it does.
The past couple times, the auger that feeds the pellets into the firebox has run completely dry. The hopper, full. What is happening, you might ask? Well, you get in there, you open up the top, and you're like, this looks full. And like it shifts and then goes whoosh. It's just not feeding into the tube, the pellets. So I was like, you know what this is? These are like not Walmart brand, but like whatever, like
Not Traeger brand or
not Traeger brand or like
Green Mountain, whatever the other
yeah.
ones.
So they're like some of them are like an inch and a half, 2 inches long. I was like, you know what? I bet it's just not like they're too long and they're not feeding through the grate at the bottom. So it'll pull everything out of the auger, but the hopper is just not refilling it. I started a pork butt this morning. Granted, I was a little late, and I had to leave. I set it and left. My wife was going to be around throughout the day. I was up on campus today working, so I put it on probably around 8 o'clock this morning. She checked it on her way out the door to come get me or to come meet me for lunch about 11:30, and there was an error message on the old dial. I was like, oh, because I've seen this before. I was like, oh my gosh, it shut off. And she walks out there and like I can not hear the smoker.
Yeah.
Right? I was like,
Yeah.
so then I was like, I have no idea how long it was off. She put the probe. Obviously it had just started, right? It had been on the smoker maybe 3 hours. She put the probe. She put the probe in. It was 145 degrees. Like, well, it's not like too far off from where it probably would be. So probably, and it was running fine when I left. So I was like, okay, just restart it, get it cranking again.
At that point, you could almost just finish it in the oven.
And we probably should have, because here's the other thing. She went out probably every hour after that and then had to like
mess with it,
mess with the hopper to get it to feed in. Michael, at 7:30 tonight, we're like, screw it, we're getting pizza. And we went and picked up some pizzas from Little Caesars.
After an almost 12-hour pork butt experiment. Oh my
it didn't
gosh.
hit 204, 205 till like 8:30. Like it literally just came off the smoker.
Yeah, so you
haven't even
had time. You haven't even pulled it. It's just still sitting out there resting.
Yeah. It's actually so when I was just done with the smoker, I rewrapped it in the foil, put it in the Pyrex dish, and put it in the oven at 350. It's like we're just gonna blast it, and it still took another couple hours. And the other thing is, I don't know what's going on with my meat probe thermometer. Like, it can be reading like at one point it was reading 195, and it was like perfect times. Like, oh, this is great. It's gonna be done here in a second. I went out there and I was like, that feels pretty tight for 195, and I adjusted it or kind of took it out and replaced it, and then it was reading 155. I was like, why is that 40 degrees off? How firm the meat was more in line with the 155 than 195. I was like, why is it reading so high? Because I have done this before. I've taken it off when I get that 205 reading or whatever, and I go to pull it. I was like, why is this so tough? So I've learned not to trust, like, if the meat, the alarm goes off at 205, just to believe it's done. I have to go recheck it a couple different spots, and yeah, it didn't hit 205 like 8:30 whatever. So I literally pulled it out of the oven, put it on the stovetop, and I was like, it's still wrapped up. It's probably still in the 180s, 190s.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Right now, I'll go pull it after I'm done recording here before going to bed.
It'll get you a little sample.
I assume food safety wise, because the issue with it hitting 145 and being off the whatever was a blip, and then we blasted it to 205,
Yeah.
for another 8 hours. It's probably fine, but
I'm sure you're fine.
yeah. So no, yeah, I meant to have pulled pork sandwiches for dinner tonight, and I ended up having stuffed pretzel crust pizza, which was fan freaking tastic. We are fans of the cheapy Little Caesars pizza. Because sometimes when you want pizza, you just want some bad pizza. Not bad pizza, but you want.
Yeah, you know what you want.
I don't know what it was. Oh, you know what? It was when the Super Bowl ads came out for those little muffin,
the disc things. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
the cheesy bacon bomb things. Since then, we're like, oh, we should go try those, and we did maybe a month ago, and then they were real good. And then like maybe a couple weeks ago, I was like, I'm craving pizza, and I was like, I'm craving Little Caesars pizza. And tonight we just gave up. Like, it's we're used to eating between 5 and 6, and it's literally 7:30.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's time to eat. And I don't like
Our family would have been starving there with you. Like, oh my
we
gosh,
were.
if it's like 6 o'clock, we're hangry.
We were
that
there.
point.
Kids were losing their minds, screaming at each other. Luckily, they were outside, but then it was like unluckily they were outside screaming at each other. So everybody in the neighborhood heard them. Samantha's like doing her best to keep it together, and I was like, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go pick up some pizza. We're gonna eat, because I was like, I don't know how much longer it's gonna take to cook, and technically it's supposed to rest, and I don't know.
We all have to go to bed at some point.
So,
I did have. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm not a resolution, but moving forward, I'm probably just gonna stick with Traeger or Green Mountain pellets and see if that kind of addresses it, or if there's something wrong with the smoker, because I tend to think because it's not falling from the hopper into the auger, it's the pellet, not the smoker.
That's where I would lean to.
So.
That happened to me once. I remember having it was a misfeed. Basically, the same thing happened, and what I had read is what you talked about is those pellets will sometimes just kind of lock up and create a void, and then they won't dip into the pellet. So every time I start a cook, I like run my hand all through that hopper and just kind of stir it all up. And I have not had an issue since then. I do dabble with different brands. So I've tried different things, and I do think that helps. So I just kind of stir it around a little bit before.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm going to stick with name brand, trusted brands, and not store brands, or because some of them were like the United brand or the bag you could get at United that wasn't Green Mountain or Traeger. I can't remember the last time I've gotten into Outdoor Chef.
I would trust
I have
about whatever they sell. I would trust about whatever they have, though.
I have done Pit Boss before from Walmart. Never really liked their selection, or just the smell, the feel I get from it. Like, that doesn't smell right. But it's been the other brand that they're so many of them are just so long. It's like it's got to be just not being able to move within the hopper that's causing this. Because like I open the top, it looks full, and then you touch it, and then it like crumbles like a sandcastle. So
I'm calling an audible. Here's what I learned. I'm going to save this one for next week because there's really not much to talk about anyway. So I learned that my sweet little 8-year-old thinks that buffets are basically the finest of dining. She loves going. She likes everything about it. My mother-in-law took her to Super Salad over the weekend, and she ate a couple pieces of pizza and a bunch of orange slices. that was what she got. Anyway, so my wife has never been a fan of CC's. Never brings it up. I know not to even bring it up. What's the point? Every time I bring it up, it's just a joke. She's like, well, date night. What's going on for date night? Well, non-joking. The first thing I always say is, well, Caprock? No Caprock? CC's? So anyway. But to her credit, after my daughter's experience at the buffet, she's like, well, there's this place called Cece's that is just pizza and salad, and my eyes got as big as saucers, and I was just, what? This is half. I mean, I felt so excited. So anyway, I've got to keep remembering that. I've got to keep that in the conversation. Well, where should we eat? Oh, Cece's. Family night. We're going to go to Cece's. We're going to spend like $21 and have all you can eat pizza. Very excited about the prospect of this actually happening.
Now, you could, if she's opposed to just Cece's and you want to do a pizza buffet, Capital does a dinner pizza buffet on Tuesdays.
Oh, they do. Okay, I knew they had the lunch buffet during the week.
Yeah, it is a little bit more expensive. I think it's Google AI says it's $17.
Okay.
So quite a bit. Like you would probably spend $17 at Cece's for the three of you for 3 buffets and 3 drinks.
Yeah.
Which that's not true because we went over the holiday break sometime.
Oh, lucky you.
Granted, there was 5 of us that went. They probably only charged us for 4 because Finney is not even 2 yet. And it was probably $25-$30. But anyways, if it really is a problem with Cece's, you can go to Capital. They have a dinner buffet Tuesday nights, or if she has a random weekday off, Monday, Friday, whatever, take her for lunch.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, but the whole point though, is I get to go to Cece's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta like. This is a place your mom will never let us come.
Well, that's why I've got to talk it up, and then it'll be something she suggests, and it's harder for us all. It works both ways. When we're like, well, where would you like to go? And she suggests a place, and my wife and I look at each other, and one of us is like, yes, and the other one's going, we're just kind of like, well, that's decided that it's 2-1. So if I get her on the Cece's side, it's almost always going to be a yes. Very, nice. Very pumped. I've got to work on that. I'm just, you talking about that reminded me, because sometimes you do just want basic pizza.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just it's just not elevated. And like you know right. Me, I don't like tricked up foods for tricked up foods purpose, or for whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Capital has like a jalapeno popper pizza that has goat cheese on it. Like, what are we doing?
I'll take yours. I'll take your share.
But again, like it's hard.
Have you been to Perry's?
We went together, man. That's
I couldn't remember if you got pizza though.
I don't remember what I got.
Perry's makes it good because we just went for lunch, so I assumed that you didn't because I got a sandwich.
Yeah, we all get something different. I don't know.
Perry's makes a good
pizza. No, okay. So we talked about this last week. I don't know if it was on the recording or just afterwards. Our school district had that digital safety presentation.
Yes,
they had Perry's. Served there. They had it was a donation for the parents that went there, and I had 2 slices, maybe 3. I can't remember. They were fantastic.
We've only ever gotten the buffalo chicken pizza. Like we can't even convince ourselves to get something else. I'm sure it's all great, but the buffalo chicken pizza is pretty fantastic.
Yeah. All right. If you're really going to hold off on your next point for next week, that'll do it for us here on the 23 Personnel Podcast. Not quite 120 minutes, but almost an hour 20. That's almost an hour 120. No, it's only 114. But anyways, getting ready for the off-season. Spring football is coming to a close with the spring game. And next week, basketball portal season, rebuilding, reloading on the way. Softball's rocking it. For Michael, I'm Spencer. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at PuntSuck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.